Okay, let's start with the beauty of trade theory. And in the previous topic, when we talked about fundamentals of, or the foundations of economic thinking, we already talked about the circular flow thinking in economics. And in this context, I mentioned a economic philosophy which is known as mercantilism. So mercantilists believed that trade is a zero-sum game, meaning that, well, if you export, that's good, but if you use the money from exports and you use them to import stuff, well, that's bad. How can you go rich? How can you become rich? And that was a fundamental flaw of thinking, even though it sounds intuitive at first. But countries get richer from trade because they can specialize and they can ultimately produce and consume much more than what would be the case if they didn't specialize. And it sounds maybe at this point a little bit complicated, but we will go over it step by step. And along the way, you will see again some concepts that we have already introduced, like the principle of opportunity cost and the idea of marginalism. So marginal thinking will show up again. And again, the ultimate goal of introducing the theory that I'm going to introduce next is to show that through trade, all countries can consume more than what they can produce individually. And that is not a trivial result. Again, so what I'm going to show you is that, or what you will learn in a couple of videos, is that through trade, all countries can consume more than what they can individually produce. And of course, trade theory is not only an economic theory, but also political theory. It is essentially a peace-building formula, trade, free trade, because it shows that political borders, they don't make much economic sense. That is a byproduct of the trade theory as well. Okay, so I'll just stop here, and then in the next video I'm going to introduce to you David Ricardo in more detail.